And his mentality, Daniel Dubois, reminded me a bit of Andrew Galotta.
God is great, God is great, God is great. That was a magical, epic, memorable night. This will live with me forever.
Oh, Dubois got knocked down. Fabio dropped him with a right. Oh, big right hand. Oh, shit. Dubois took a knee. Big right hand from Fabio. That's my problem with Dubois. Oh, good uppercut from Wardley. Oh, God. Oh, shit. They swinging and dinging and binging and banging. Bam, another uppercut from Wardley. They swinging, dinging, binging and banging. Wait, that's not. Hey, move out the way, jackass. Bam. Oh, hey, stop the fight, y'all. Stop the fight, bruh. Look how much energy Dubois. Oh, there it is. Stop the fight.
I want a next fight with who winner, Daniel Dubois and maybe Wardley.
In the blink of an eye, the entire heavyweight landscape shifted completely. A clash that was promised to be a violent spectacle delivered something entirely unexpected, leaving audiences completely stunned. One man was pushed to the absolute brink, staring up at the lights, only to rise and deliver a finish so devastating it silenced the arena. This wasn't just a simple boxing match, it was a grueling survival test. When the dust finally settled, an unthinkable sequence of events had unfolded, ending in a brutal knockout and sparking serious questions about who is truly looking out for these fighters when the bell rings.
Oh, Dubois got knocked down. Fabio dropped him with a right. Oh, big right hand. Oh, shit. Dubois took a knee. Big right hand from Fabio. That's my problem with Dubois. Oh, good uppercut from Wardley. Oh, God. Oh, shit. They swinging and dinging and binging and banging. Bam, another uppercut from Wardley. They swinging, dinging, binging and banging. Wait, that's not. Hey, move out the way, jackass. That's still the round still going. Oh, God, you piece of shit. Yo, Fabio's insane. Oh, good right hand from Fabio. Oh, good uppercut from Fabio. Bam. Oh, hey, stop the fight, y'all. Stop the fight, bruh. Look how much energy Dubois. Oh, there it is. Stop the fight. Stop the fight. It's over. Dubois won. That's the greatest heavyweight fight I've watched in a long time. And damn it.
It began with a nightmare scenario that absolutely no one saw coming. Barely seconds into the opening round, a thunderous, concussive shot landed, sending Dubois crashing to the canvas. The panic ringside was immediate and palpable. In the corner, absolute chaos ensued. But instead of typical calm boxing advice, an entirely different and shocking tactic was deployed.
And his mentality, Daniel Dubois, reminded me a bit of Andrew Galotta back in the day, and the strange performances. A big slap from Don Charles.
Desperate to wake his fighter from a dangerous daze, trainer Don Charles resorted to physical force, delivering a stinging slap right across the face. It was a wild, instinctual move born out of pure desperation to drag his fighter back to reality before the night ended in disaster. That brutal wake-up call ignited something incredibly dangerous. What followed was a terrifying, chaotic brawl where technical defense was quickly abandoned for pure, unfiltered aggression.
Thank God for a great fight. Thank Fabio for being an absolute warrior. I thank God, you know, what a fight we had, what a warrior he is, and came through that test. You know, coming off the back of a loss, I was a bit nervy to start off with and a bit all over the place, but I pulled it together and got the victory.
There's a clip doing the rounds now, if I can control it, where Don gives you a couple of slaps in the corner.
I needed that slap just to wake up. You know, stay in reality, you know, it's not slip. You know, I got to dig deep. And as a warrior, you have to dig deep because you've got to go to that dark place and come out on top.
Don, it takes a great man to...
We'll see. You know, coming through that war, I owe it all to my dad and my team around me to get me through those tough moments in there, so...
The punishment absorbed by both men was sickening to watch, yet neither seemed to give a shit about the physical toll. Faces were battered, eyes were swelling shut, and the ring turned into a brutal testing ground of sheer human endurance. Despite taking immense damage and sporting a horrific bloody mess of a visage, the opponent refused to fold. It was a frightening display of heart, the kind of terrifying willpower that makes you question the very limits of the human body. Every single punch thrown was laced with bad intentions, turning the canvas into a scene of absolute carnage.
Mate, Daniel got dropped in the first round, and I said, he's winning the fight. Everybody around me looked at me like, what? I'm like, he's winning the fight. And then guess what he did? he fucking won the fight. He just bit bodies, come shoot, and carried on. Fabio was not ready for boxing. He was no jab, nothing, looking for power shots. It's like he didn't train. He was busy commentating. Little bastard. He was supposed to fucking train in the gym. Dude, how many jabs did Fabio chuck? Less jabs. He didn't chuck no jabs. He didn't do anything we've seen before. You know, and today, Sam Smith was right. He goes, you're only a world champion until you fight a real fighter. What should Fabio have done then? Throw the jab, what else could he have done? Listen, he was supposed to work his jab, but he was not working his jab. And then that's what happened. And then his nose is getting probably won't see Fabio anymore. Fabio is done. Daniel Dubois and that Daniel was fucking amazing. He was getting hit, but he was not quitting. He didn't have the quit in his eyes this day. You see, we wanted to win the fight.
But as the brutal rounds ticked by, a chilling question began to echo around the boxing world. Where was the protection? With one fighter absorbing life-altering damage, the silence from those meant to save him became deafening. The referee hesitated, and the ringside doctor closely scrutinized the bloody damage, but ultimately let the slaughter continue. More disturbingly, the Wardley's own team seemed paralyzed, watching their man take unnecessary heavy blows against the ropes. In a sport where your corner is your only true lifeline, the lack of intervention felt like a cold, calculated betrayal.
Woo! I'm so glad it is. I mean, that was a tussle, and I'm happy that Dubois got his flowers and got the win, because a lot of people were writing him off, and I just felt if he could do what he needed to do behind that jab, cutting off the ring, somebody like Wardley, he could give him a lot of trouble. A lot of people thought he was going to fade. He did get knocked down, but he showed great resilience in getting back up. Wardley showed what we know what Wardley has. He has great grit, great determination. But he was just trying to rely on that big right hand looting over. And what he was on, which was so good that he didn't do before, that he got behind the jab. I was screaming, pop the jab, pop the jab. When he was standing up off the jab, he was landing the right hand. When he was trying to throw the right hand without that jab, he wasn't landing it. So big kudos to Daniel Dubois. Great heavyweight matchup. Like, no love lost. They just fought an honest fight. There was no bad blood, and the skills were nice. I didn't like the way that the fight carried on a little longer than I felt it should. I saw Wardley's leg were like shaking. So I think maybe they should have pulled him out, his corner, maybe one round too much. But you're fighting for the championship. I understand. You're the champion. You got your belt. You know, you want to go out on your shield, but you got to think about the protection of the fighter. The guy's eyes are cut, nose are cut, probably got eardrums gone. So it's like, you know, I know we're warriors, we want to keep going, but there's a point where the safety, baby, hey, save yourself for another day.
Fair play to Fabio Wardley. What a hard man he is. He didn't want to quit, his corner didn't pull him out. And Daniel Dubois kept his composure. He kept his composure, stuck to the plan. He started to get a bit tired himself. He realised that Wardley has still got something in the tank. He kept pulling it out of the bag. He looked dead on his feet. But what a fight that was. And listen, fair play to Fabio Wardley.
A lot of comments online complaining about the referee and maybe saying he should have been pulled out. What's your thoughts on that?
Listen, in a fight like that, because you've seen Fabio Wardley pull himself out from the brink of getting beat before, you can understand why Howard Foster didn't want to jump in the way. He gave him every chance. He took him to the doctor twice, I think, and the doctor said, you know, carry on. But personally, if it was me, I'd have pulled him out a round ago and saved him from that finish. He finished on his feet, but he took far too many shots.
The final act of this violent play was a masterclass in shifting momentum. After surviving his own horrific knockdowns and staring defeat in the face, the tides turned completely. It wasn't just raw, wild power that ended the night, it was a sudden, clinical, technical adjustment. Once the crisp jab finally found its home, the end became completely inevitable. The final sequence was a terrifying display of heavy-handed destruction by Dubois.
I thought it was going to be a really exciting, I said it, you know, don't blink, it's going to be the most amazing few rounds. It was much better than that. It was just a phenomenal fight, phenomenal to watch, to witness and see these two guys, what they did, bearing their soul and Daniel getting off the floor and the canvas and coming back how he did, and It swung both ways, the fight, and it was just a privilege to watch. This is the best. I think this is the best fight card I've done. That's how good it was.
If it was a dream fight for Daniel next, who would you like to see Daniel fight?
Well, there is a rematch clause, so we'll see what happens.
If they decide to pass it for now,
we'll see what pans out in the next few months with all these various heavyweight fights that are happening, and that'll determine what's going to happen. And that's what I keep saying. The heavyweight division is so good at the moment, so many good fights, and we are delivering them. And the guys want to fight each other. That's why they're signing up with Queensbury. They're not signing up to, like with some, they go with a promoter and they duck fights. They're signing up to help us make the fights happen.
It takes a lot out of them because it became like a barnyard brawl. With technique, you remember boxing at the highest level, it's not about fitness. You've got to be fit. We've all got to be fit. But it's about technical and tactical. And what you saw from Dubois today was more technical than what we saw from Wardley. Wardley was trying to throw, they were very telegraphed, those right hands. You could see them all day long. Normally, Wardley's behind the jab. But because Dubois added something different to his game today, he added that jab. It took away Wardley's jab, and it made him uncomfortable. So you pop in that jab. Every time Wardley was throwing the right hand, boom, he was getting a stiff jab. Then Wardley made a good adjustment. He started moving the other way because he was trying to land it right. I'm screaming, go the other way. And Dubois made that, with his team, they made that adjustment. They went the other way, which closed off that right hand from Landis. So I saw far more technical element, which I like to see as a Olympian, as a top contender that I was. I want to see those techniques. I want to see that you're feinting. Both of them were feinting. So there was a lot of high-level stuff in there that you see at the top level. So that was like, bravo, well done to both for you.
Daniel Dubois, still riding the massive adrenaline spike of the finish, admitted this grueling, bloody war felt even sweeter than his massive, career-defining knockout over Anthony Joshua. It was a candid, exposing confession that highlighted exactly how deep he wanted to prove that sometimes the absolute ugliest victories are the ones most deeply cherished.
When you got two big punches like that, that can happen. And yeah, he got up from it. Second round he boxed good. Third round he went heavy again. That was definitely not the script. That's not how it's supposed from our side. But you know what? Now I can say this. Obviously, we stayed calm. Yeah? And then the way it's been written. Remember, this has all been written by the Most High. This has been written already. So we just have to wait for it, trusting God, and let it unfold as it's been written. And what you saw there is how it was written. Not by me, that's how it's been written.
Fabio looking battered and bruised towards the end, I'm sure you won't mind me saying that, but incredible heart on Fabio's behalf.
Gladiators, there was no losers in there tonight. We came away as the winners, granted. There was no losers in there in my eyes. Yeah? That boxing won tonight. We came away with the belt, granted. The boxing won I've been watching boxing for a long time, heavyweight boxing. I don't believe apart from when you go back to the 80s, the days of Ron Lyle, George Foreman, Ernie Shavers, Larry Hum, Riddick Bowe. That's the last time I saw any heavyweight fight that might resemble that, but this was better. So boxing won, we won, boxing won, and both athletes are going home healthy to their families tonight. That's great.
What do you think won Daniel Dubois the fight tonight?
His heart.
The one thing they all questioned.
That's what it was. It was his heart, and it's the same with Fabio. That's what kept him going. Their heart. It's phenomenal what they did. I just went in. He was getting stitched up his nose and his eyes, and I couldn't obviously speak to him because the doctor was attending him, and I think he's going to check up at the hospital as well.
This defining, unforgettable performance completely shattered the narrative that had haunted the Dubois for years. Vicious whispers of a quit in him were permanently incinerated under the arena lights. He walked straight through fire, hitting the floor multiple times, only to roar back and violently claim his throne. His trainer didn't hold back in the post-fight frenzy either, fiercely condemning anyone who ever dared to question his fighter's chin or spirit.
I have a lot to say. No human being on this planet could ever question this kid ever again. Certainly don't question him in front of me, yeah? Because what he showed tonight, he raised any doubt of all that negative talk, yeah? It's almost like because we were victorious, yeah. It's almost like I'm glad the fight went that way. You know why? So he could demonstrate this quitting narrative. He's not. We know he's not. The people around him know he's not. I think he ticked every box tonight, yeah. And obviously, you said it. I'm just going to echo what everybody said here on the top table. The opponent, Fabio, what a warrior. He's healthy. Daniel, what a warrior. He's healthy. That's the most important. They both came out of that grueling, epic. Frank, that must rank amongst one of the best you've from over the years, right?
It's not over the years. It's the
for
best.
Heavyweights.
It's the best.
Right.
Best we've done.
Right.
It was just so absorbing. It was two guys.
It had everything. It had drama. It had thriller. It had everything. For neutrals, that's like what they pay for. Yeah. Luckily, the two gladiators came out intact. That's the most important.
The ripple effects of this catastrophic knockout are already tearing through the entire division. The heavyweight landscape is now a highly volatile powder keg just waiting to explode again. Talk of an immediate high-stakes rematch with Usyk is already dominating the headlines, promising even more bad blood and violence. But lurking just in the shadows are hungry, dangerous contenders waiting for their shot at the newly crowned king. This was far more than just a standard title fight. It was a grueling, unforgettable, epic fight of the year type of match that will be heavily discussed and dissected for months. Will this result give us the trilogy that Usyk promised based on the winner, or will the up and rising Moses Atama finally get a shot at making his legacy?
But I was saying to you that this fight is about corners. And the last time that Lee Wiley, Ben Davison, and Barry Smith looked across the corner and looked across the ring and saw Don Charles there with Daniel Dubois in a fight where Daniel Dubois was the underdog. Daniel Dubois came out victorious. And as far as I was concerned, that Don Charles has their number. Yes, Don Charles has got their number. He's got their number ridiculously because Don Charles is an old school trainer, right? These guys are the new age trainers and I got Don Charles's box. Don Charles used to be my club senior when I was an amateur, when I was 12 years old at Brixton and District, right? And what I'm realizing in boxing is that Don Charles genuinely loves his fighters, not cares for them, you know. He loves them more than he loves himself. I've witnessed this with the things that he did with Derek Chisora. Don Charles literally is an over-emotional human being. He loves his fighters. I say that he loves his fighters more than he loves himself. He loves Daniel Dubois as a son. I'm telling you this now. Now, we go look in the other corner now, and I'm saying, and I'm keeping it 100. The corner work of not pulling out that young man at round 8 was diabolical. It's disgusting because you could see from where I I was indoors watching along with Baba Tundi Ajayi, and I was saying, Tundi, they need to stop this now, you know? Tundi couldn't really get it. And then when Tundi phoned me this morning, he said, you know what, Spence? You're right, you know? You're right, you know? Because I don't know whether he's going to come back from that, you know? Because go do the rounds. After round 3, first round, Fabio won because he got the knockdown. Second round, I gave to Daniel Dubois. Third round, I gave to Wardley because he got the knockdown, right? Everything after that was all Daniel Dubois. You know why? Because his trainer is, Daniel Dubois' trainer, right, is worried about getting a job done. No matter how we get it, we just get the job done. The other corner, I'm telling you this now, and I don't business if people want to be upset with me, they were more interested, yeah, about them looking good than the safety of their fighter.
What did you make of that fight, Daniel Dubois, Fabio Wardley?
It was unbelievable fight, you know, it was a very crazy, very hard fight. Yeah, I like it.
How did you see the fight progressing? When Fabio hurt Daniel in the first round, did you think he was going to go on to win?
Yeah, but you know, this is heavyweight boxing. You know, first of all, when I see the situation, I think crazy. Now Fabio will stop the fight early, but you know, you see the result. I think today, it seemed good.
Magic, for yourself, you spoke about you want world titles, you want the big names. The winner, you want Daniel Dubois.
I said, you heard what Frank said, you have a rematch, you know. But you know, I'm the #1 of WBC. I faced first about of this situation with Rico and Usyk. When after the situation comes out big news, maybe why not? I fight one the winner from the fight.
So that's all for today. If you enjoyed it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our upcoming videos. And don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments section. Stay tuned and we will catch you in the next video.